Hi, everybody, and I am here today with Kim from Texas, and we are going to troubleshoot a challenge that Kim has been having. Good morning, Kim. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. You know, it's summer. I love summer. So whenever you see me dressed in summer clothes, you it's certain
Yes.
that I'm happy. I like it hot.
Yes.
So tell me, first of all, before we get started, when you began intermittent fasting. I'm gonna take a little few notes while we go. When did you start intermittent fasting?
Almost 2.5 years ago, it was
Okay.
January 23rd of 2023.
Okay.
2 years and 5.
Okay. And when you started, I imagine you settled into a routine. What was the routine that you settled into for a while?
19.5.
Okay. So a 19-hour daily fast and a 5-hour daily eating window. And how did that go?
It was tough at first.
Okay.
I kind of took the rip the band-aid off approach and just dove right in. Um, but eventually I did settle into it well.
Mhm.
I had a very bad habit of wanting to change things frequently.
Ah,
I would settle into something and then, okay, what do I need to do now? And then I would settle into that and what do I need to do now? And so I was consistently inconsistent. So
okay. Now let's dig into that just a little bit. Is it because, let me see if I'm onto something here. Is it because you're so used to having to monitor like diets and programs and plans that you just feel like you should be doing something? And then when you're just like settled into a daily 5-hour window, you're like, this is almost too easy. I got to be changing things up. Is that kind of what happened? Yeah. I get it. And it's kind of, I mean, it's a little funny and sad, but we all have been taught by I keep saying toxic diet culture because I believe that it is. It
right,
makes us so confused with,
right,
listening to our bodies and knowing what to do. First of all, we're convinced we have to buy a lot of stuff.
right,
Like you all, like, if all I'm having to do is eat in a window, that's too easy. It's got to be harder. I need to buy some things. I need to do a
right,
lot of stuff,
right.
and we're looking for something
Mhm.
because we're used to it being overcomplicated. Does that sound right?
Yes. And that's where I had just come from the month prior.
Okay.
Um, I visited with my then doctor, don't longer see this doctor. And I know you're familiar with the Optavia, um, di- I don't know if diet plan
Program,
program.
plan. It's kind of
Um,
like a pyramid kind of a thing, right? Where, like, your friend is selling it and they get you to join and be a coach too,
right,
and then you can sell it and earn it for free,
yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
didn't do Optavia,
Okay.
but the doctor that I was seeing wrote a prescription that was exactly what their practice also followed. It was a different name, but it
Okay.
was the exact same plan as Optavia as far as they wrote my prescription. I would purchase the foods, eat those throughout the day, and then prepare my own meal, lean meal in the evening. And so I had done that the month prior to beginning intermittent fasting.
So
So,
that was back in 2023. You had been doing that,
right,
and then
December, correct.
okay, and then you started intermittent fasting, and again, you're right. It's just you wanna change things up because it just feels like you should be doing that. So, you never quite settled into, like, just a 5-hour window where you set it and forget it, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So, how has that worked out for you over these 2.5 years? What's happened? Have you lost weight? Has it been a challenge?
It has. That is consistency is my problem.
Okay.
I'm also a member, in our Delay Don't Deny community group,
Right.
and I will settle into a protocol and get plugged in, and I'm being consistent, and then I feel like, oh, I've got this, I'm good. And then I start to kind of pull away and then I quit checking in and start making excuses. And then I just kind of fall by the wayside and I'm no longer accountable for anything.
Okay. And when you describe it as falling by the wayside, do you have window creep? Do you stop fasting altogether? What happened?
Both. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you've just really been inconsistent.
Correct.
So, just to summarize, it seems to me like when you first started, you never really got into the groove of just a daily 5-hour window. You were constantly looking for a little something maybe to make weight loss more quick,
Correct.
that sort of thing, right? And then you come to the community, that's helpful, and then you back away, and then things get kind of loosey goosey.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And I've
totally
done that for the full 2.5 years.
okay, so it's just kind of a cycle that repeats itself. So
Correct.
your goal is to stop that cycle. And
Yes.
I've been watching you since you scheduled this because, as you mentioned, you're in the Delay Don't Deny community. And I've known you there. When did you join there? You've been there a while.
So I started intermittent fasting January of 23, and I also joined the community January of 23. About
Okay.
2 weeks a week. Actually, it was that same week.
Okay. Would you say that your periods of doing well and
Mhm.
your periods of consistency align with the time when you were checking in with the community and being active? And I
100%.
think it's so important. You know, we hear people talk a lot about Weight Watchers, and there's a reason why Weight Watchers was so successful for so many decades as far as keeping people engaged, and that was the community component. And so I think for you, you have learned that when you try to go it alone,
Mhm.
you just kind of forget about it, make
Yeah.
excuses, you don't have the accountability.
Right.
You're like, "Well, today I'll open early." Does that
Right.
happen?
Yeah.
"Today I'll open early and I'll close early."
Yeah.
And when you open early, do you close early?
Oh, community genuinely makes me stop
Mm,
and think about the fact that I'm going to be checking in at the end of the
right.
day, and it affects my decisions throughout the day.
Exactly. Now, have you ever used a fasting app?
Yes, I use the Window app.
Okay.
I use the free version just specifically, um, just to kind of keep an eye on things.
Okay. And do you track your eating window or do you track your fast?
The eating window,
Okay. Okay. And does the fasting app give you that level of accountability or not really?
not really. No.
Okay, okay. I was gonna ask just because some people can find that an app with tracking your eating window, when you close it on that app, it
Mhm.
just keeps it closed, but not everybody has that
Well,
same experience.
it does do that for me. Once I close my window, it's closed. I
Okay,
don't have a problem with reopening, but if I open early, it also doesn't prevent me from letting the window
okay,
be too long.
okay,
However,
so
plugged into community and I'm setting my intentions in the morning, knowing that I'm going to be checking in the evenings, that does keep me accountable. So
okay.
it does make a big difference.
Have you ever taken the Gretchen Rubin personality quiz?
I have heard about it, but I have not done it for myself.
I'm not an expert on this, and so I'm gonna try to I bet you're an obliger, if I'm remembering it correctly. I could be getting it wrong. I think the word is obliger. An obliger is someone who if I'm getting this right, I hope that I am. An obliger is somebody who doesn't always keep promises to themselves, but they keep them to other people.
Yes. We're
Yeah.
describing it well.
Yeah, I think that's obliger. And so I think that's why the community check-ins are so important for you and why the app is not as important because it's just an app, it's impersonal. But
That's a
the
good.
community is you being able to be accountable to outside of yourself, other people, and we're looking for your posts. We're
Yes.
following along. You know, and I actually noticed there are people who'll be in the community and they'll be posting, 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 and then they kind of vanish for a little bit.
Mhm.
And then and knowing some of those people, I'm like, well, okay. And then they show up maybe 2 weeks later and they're like, oh, I've had a hard time. Because they stop check. That's you. That's you. Okay. So I've been watching you since you scheduled this. It's
Yes.
been about a week, right? When did you schedule this?
Yeah, about a week.
Okay, yeah. So since you scheduled this
Uh-huh.
session with me, I've been watching you in the community for the whole week,
Mhm.
and you have been checking in every day.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been sharing your successes,
Mhm.
and you've been nailing your eating window.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's because of the community. It makes a
right.
big difference for me. And that's
Okay.
was one of the things that Sherry commented and said. She said, I think that she said, put it on your calendar, set an alert, check in the mornings and check in the evenings, because that's going to give you the accountability that you're searching for, that you need. And so that's exactly
Exactly.
what I did. I set an alert on my phone in the morning. I have one set in the evening. And I know that I'm going to be checking in, and that helps hold me accountable.
I love that, and I want you to, as your homework, every
Yeah.
teacher gives homework, right? I want you to go to Gretchen Rubin's website and find her quiz
Okay.
and take it. It's like a real quick quiz. I'm a questioner. That's my personality type. I'll do anything once I have questioned it and thought it through and figured out it's worth doing.
Uh-huh.
But, I think my sister is an obliger, and so she's explaining to me why obligers have a lot of trouble with promises to themselves. So,
Mhm.
I want you to take that quiz and then come back in the community and let us know.
I will do that. I will do that.
And then I really think, like I said, I think you've solved your own problem by, talking it through in the community and figuring out that you need that accountability piece, and setting that alarm on your calendar is absolutely perfect.
Yes. Yes. It has made a big difference. I
Good.
I have been consistent in my eating window, even thinking ahead of how my day is going to be structured, of knowing we have something going on that evening and that I may need to slide my window a little bit later to open it to account for it being open, versus in the past, I would just, oh, I'm just going to open my window at my normal time, and then it's going to be closed later, and then experience that window creep.
Yeah.
Now
I have
being,
that same issue. Closing is harder for me than
yeah.
delaying. And I know that just because of the years of experience.
Mhm.
Some people are great at closing. They open early, they close early. It's easy peasy for them. Not me. If I open early, I end up with a longer window. That's just what I know. So I have to be willing to do it. And your goal, is it weight loss? You have a weight loss goal?
Yes. Weight loss, just also trying to take care of my health. My mom passed away a year and a half ago from fatty liver disease.
Oh,
And she had a
sorry.
long list of health problems. My dad has some health problems, and I want to do, I think it's either you and or Sherry that have said, um, what is the thing? Genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger.
Yeah, we didn't
And
make that up, but it's true.
right,
It's
right.
powerful. Yeah.
Yes, and
It's a
it
powerful
does.
thought.
And so that is my why behind what I'm doing. Also wanting to lose my weight, um, to be more comfortable, and in a healthier weight range. Yes.
Yep. So yeah, I definitely think that you've learned, like me, that you can't just open early and expect you're going to close early, because you're not. So, stick to that delay.
Yeah.
Delay that window opening. Tell your body, tap into some stored fuel, and get to that window opening, and then you've done it. Once you get there, you've made it for the day. Is there anything else that you're struggling with?
Consistency, honestly, is the biggest problem.
Okay.
It's and as long as I'm checking in, I problem solved.
Good. Good. Well, I'm going to keep my eye on you.
Okay.
Watching you. That's
Well, it does.
Well, that's the power of community. And,
I agree.
I learned that as a teacher, honestly. It all comes down to community and feeling
Right.
like you are important and you're part of something. And I also, another thing I learned as a teacher that carries over in our community, and that is when you, Kim, are helping other people. I'm like pointing you with my pins. I'm sorry. I am such a teacher. Who can't help it? But when you are helping other people in the
Mhm.
community, it helps you. So when you're there in the community, do you take some time to comment on the posts of others?
I absolutely do. Yes. In the
Yeah,
morning, whenever I get on, I post my daily intention. And after my intention has been posted, then I spend some time going through, start at the top of the feed and just kind of spend time going through, reading and commenting on posts for a while. And then I do the same thing in the evening.
good.
I do my accountability check in, and then I spend time reading others and commenting on theirs as well.
Yep. Research shows that when we teach something to somebody else,
Mhm.
we learn it so much better that way.
Yeah.
And so I think you can think of commenting on the posts of others as that same concept. When someone else is having a challenge and you give them advice,
Mhm.
that helps you internalize that advice for yourself.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in that. It's also just yesterday or the day before, somebody was commenting on themselves, and they were, kind of being down on themselves. And my response to them was to speak to themselves the way that they would speak to a friend. And I was like, that kind of stings because
See,
we,
you needed that advice. You
yes,
gave that advice to somebody else, but you needed it. And
yes,
so
and
it
I told,
reminds you.
and that's what I told her. So I'm speaking to myself as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Well,
Well, Kim, is there anything else that you need some help working through, or is that pretty much it?
I think that's pretty much it. It's just Oh, the weekend mentality. That was the other.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was, but like you said, that was again, we're checking into the community, knowing that when the weekends roll around, my husband and I were both morning people. We
Okay.
prefer to get up and go out on a breakfast date versus a dinner date. And
Mhm.
so I would, in my mind, oh, I'm going to have a window on Saturday. And then we would get up and we would want to go out on a breakfast date. Well, we're going to go on a breakfast date and have my windows open all day long. And
Right.
this, every weekend I was doing this. And I would mentally tell myself, I'm going to do a down day on Friday. That way I can have my up day on Saturday. And I didn't follow through. I was like
Right.
the intention of that, but I didn't follow through with it. Now that I'm checking in with community, last week I had my first successful down day on Friday, and I was able to enjoy my up day on Saturday and didn't have to worry about keeping a window on Saturday. And I'm following the same thing again today. Today is my down day so that I can have an up day tomorrow. And that's just kind of what I follow is 19.5, 5 days a week,
Mhm.
Sunday through Thursday. And then I do down days on Fridays so that takes that weekend mentality away from Saturday. Yeah.
You figured out what your big challenge for the weekend was, and that was that Saturday wanting it to be a more relaxed eating day.
Right.
And ADF, alternate daily fasting, is a fabulous, well-researched strategy. And, for a while back in the early days when I was an early intermittent faster, I thought you
Mhm.
had to pick. Like you either do the daily eating window or you're doing, up, down, up, down, up, down. But
Right.
realizing we can combine those two strategies into a hybrid approach is really powerful because you can have your daily 5-hour window,
Right.
and then you can have a down day on Friday to have a little extra fat burning. And, instead of thinking of it as, oh my gosh, I have to have a down day on Friday so I can have my Saturday up day, have that mindset shift of, ooh, I get to have some extra fasting, clearing out some fatty liver. And, just in
Yeah.
case you have that same genetic inclination towards having a fatty liver. And then you get to have the metabolic boosting up day on Saturday.
Right. Yeah. For me, it's also, let me see. And I did do my fasted insulin, October of 23, and it was 13.6. So,
Okay.
and almost 2 years ago that I had that checked. So I need to do that again. That's kind of the mentality that I keep on Fridays is this is good for helping with
Mhm.
the um, insulin resistance. So,
And I would keep doing what you're doing exactly right now until you've been consistent for 3 to 6 months before getting that fasting insulin tested again.
okay.
Give your body time to really get used to the consistency. And, you know, I know that as an obliger,
Mhm.
that community piece is going to remain so important and being able to have that accountability. So don't let that fall by the wayside. What's the saying, never miss 2 days?
Yes.
If you
Yes.
find yourself like, oh, I was busy today, I didn't do it, don't miss the second day in a row.
Yes.
Keep that commitment to yourself, but really it's the commitment to us because I'm going to be looking for you.
Absolutely.
That's the most loving way possible.
That helps. It helps. Yes.
Well, good. Well, I love being there for you, but the community loves it as well. The whole community is really a place where we can root for one another.
Yeah. And it really is the best place to be.
I think so too, and I love doing it. As a teacher, I love being able to teach in a new way.
Yeah.
So for everybody who's wondering, you can find the community by going to jenstevens.com/community. You can join us there. I am literally there every day, right?
And you
And it is
promise
me.
every single post. Yeah.
I do, except the man cave. I stay out of the man cave, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It could be nothing. It could be all sorts of shenanigans. I think it's but other than that, I'm everywhere. And I love doing it because I have such a passion for intermittent fasting that I want to see people figure out how to make it into a lifestyle that sticks. And
Right.
so I'm glad that the community is helping you through that.
Yeah.
And for everybody who's watching this on YouTube, if you would like a YouTube coaching session, just like Kim, if you email me at jen@intermittentfastingstories.com, make sure to tell me that you are emailing to have a coaching session. I do not coach by email, but I would love to have you on if you're interested. But you have to email me, jen@intermittentfastingstories.com. Tell me a little bit about what you're going through and that it's for YouTube. And if you don't want to wait for a YouTube, then join us in the community. Do you have any parting words for us, Kim?
I highly, highly suggest being plugged into the community. It is They're very encouraging,
Mhm.
very supportive, give you a kick in the pants when you need it in a kind and loving way. Um, there is not, there's just not the junk that's out there on a lot of social media and Facebook, Instagram, all those places. It's just a very supportive community. So,
It really doesn't even feel like social media, does it?
oh, absolutely not.
No. Yeah,
No.
because we don't do any of that nonsense.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about our community that I love so much is that we can be real about our challenges.
Right.
You don't have to like be fake perfect.
I agree. Every
Yeah.
there Yeah. And when I needed to get back into this, that was exactly what I did. I was able to do a very long, detailed, vulnerable post and got the feedback that I needed and got plugged back in and have been doing well since then.
I'm
So,
glad. Well, I think the key is for everybody to understand that whatever you're struggling with, you are not alone in that struggle, even if you think it's weird.
yeah.
We all have weird struggles. Even me. Well, Kim, thank you so much for sharing today, and I'll be seeing you in the community.
Thank you, Jen.